Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Johnny Disc Golf here, and today I am joined by Team Thoughtspace Athletics' newest member, Miss Lucky Lorentzen. How we doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It is officially 2024, which means that announcement season is in full swing. I'm actually
Yeah.
really excited, and I appreciate you taking the time to be like my first official interview with all these new announcements coming. So,
Really? Nice.
yes, yep. Thank you again. And number one, congrats on a new sponsorship. It's a super
Thank
exciting
you.
time for any disc golfer. Just talk to me about it. What are you feeling right now? What's the day been like? What's the energy over there?
It's been a stressful day. Or I guess stressful couple of days. Because
Yeah.
it's like planning all the I made a video for YouTube and that always takes way longer than you think.
Yeah.
And here it's been so much snow that we are getting texts that we should stay inside. So it's like
Wow.
stuff that I kind of planned to do outside, I couldn't do. So I kind of had to improvise, make a video, and try and make it good with what I got because it's not really like I can't really throw that much
Mm-hmm.
outside, or at least I'm not a fan of it because it's too cold. So I made a video and then I posted on Instagram, posted on YouTube right before we started this chat
Mm-hmm.
actually. So it's official, and I'm feeling really excited. Actually, I'm super excited, and it's a new chapter, and I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. It's a new chapter. When I talk to players after they switch, it's always, everybody's super excited. It's a mixed bag, though. You're going kind of into the unknown. You mentioned it's very snowy over there, so probably not a lot of like, it's not easy to practice unless you have some indoor facility or something. We'll get into that a little bit, but my question is, how long have you known about the switch, like that you're going to Thoughtspace, and how has it been like kind of keeping it under wraps?
It it hasn't been that long, actually. It's been, I would say, just over a month or so
Oh,
that I've
okay.
known for sure that I've
Hmm.
like signed. But I've known Aaron for years. He's the owner of Thoughtspace, and
Hmm.
I have a shop back here in Norway, and we distribute their discs, which means I've seen their discs. I have a really
Mm.
good relationship with Aaron, and it's always been like a thing where it's like, okay, well, your contract up. Like, are you gonna do the switch? Are we gonna like be partners? And I really do love their discs.
Hmm.
So I am really excited about that.
Yeah, I mean that was going to be kind of where I was going to take this next question. It's a totally new bag, new plastic. Prodigy to Thoughtspace. It's not like there's a lot of crossover with
No.
like how the discs feel or the specific. Everybody has the whole bag. You can get whatever flight you needed, but how has that been getting used to the new discs? By the sound of it, you kind of already were familiar with a majority of their lineup.
Yeah, because they started producing discs, and then we got one mold, and then we got another. So
Mm.
that means I was kind of a part of that process. I also got discs, got to test discs before
Mm.
they were out, before they were released. So I've actually tested their discs for years. So
Okay.
I already know how all the discs fly, basically all the
Hmm.
discs. So that made it easy for me to know that I like the discs and also how they look. I mean, they have to be the most pretty discs I I think of any. I have not seen anyone have prettier discs than ThoughtSpace.
Agreed, honestly. And I was going to get into this like why Thoughtspace? Was it the art, the mold, the plastics? It seems like you've kind of answered that already, but no, you're totally right though. In my opinion, it feels like Thoughtspace has a little they're leaning more towards like artistic, and they partner with specific
Yes,
artists and they do a lot of custom runs like that. Did that play into your decision at all?
definitely. Yeah, for sure. I really, really care about that. Like, it's
Hmm.
dumb to say out loud, but I do. I really care about it because I do care about just the aesthetics of it, just
Hmm.
how it looks, and just also me selling discs. Like, being like, I'm all in. I really want you to check this disc out because it's
Hmm.
great. Like, look at this stamp. They have a new stamp for every plastic and every mold. How insane is
Kind of
that?
insane.
It's like
Yeah.
every disc in your bag is different. It's so cool. Like
No,
the actual basic stock run,
mhm.
which to me is it's pretty unique and pretty cool.
Well, and quite the contrast from Prodigy, if we're being honest, who
Yeah.
is kind of on the other side of that. Like, I do appreciate they have a very professional aesthetic and very, like, like simple and classy and to the point, but it is kind of that exact opposite to
It
Thoughtspace,
is.
which goes a
Yeah.
little bit to the nth degree. Some of their stamps are like insane to where I almost like just want them as art on my wall, They're like so interesting.
Yeah.
Um Let me ask you, did when I think thought space, I don't necessarily think European market and a wide reach outside of, the core North American scene. So was there any talks about you being or you helping to get that growth happening in Europe, or was that just like a happy accident? Was that talked about at all?
Well, I mean, it is talked about, but I think we are trying to do the mix where it's like we want to bring it to Europe, but I'm also I'm gonna be in the States. And so it's not really like that, but it is because I've been selling their discs for years, and
Mm,
I'm
yeah.
pushing their discs. I've been
Mm-hmm.
talking about their discs for years to beginners to whoever. So
Mm-hmm.
it is definitely something we want to grow the brand in Europe, and we really want to try doing that. So we'll see if it helps me being sponsored by them.
I think it definitely. I mean, it has to help, right? There's only
Yeah.
so many, very high level European players, especially on the FPO side. Like, I think just having your name associated with the brand in general is nothing but good things. As far as expansion, um, talk to me a little bit about the discs, like the molds themselves. Excuse me. You've obviously have a fair amount of history with them. You're not coming into the brand blind. You know their discs. You said you've thrown a lot of them. Are there any molds in particular that you feel like are going to be your workhorses out there? The ones that are like staples in the bag already?
Yeah, I feel like to me they have really good fairways and really good mids. So that's
Yes.
to me, that's going to be for sure something I'm going to throw. And I haven't been able to throw all their plastics in every mold. And they also have a couple newer molds I haven't tried out.
Mm.
But they do have Pathfinder, which was the first disc I tried.
Yeah.
So that one for sure. And then the Mana for sure. And they also have a Mantra, Animus. Like they have a bunch of discs that I know I will
Mm-hmm.
throw. So that kind of made me just more sure. Like I know these discs are something I want to have in my bag.
Yeah, no question. I spend a fair amount of time with James Proctor. He lives in my area. We play like the Golden Gate Park course a lot just on random days. And the Votum I threw at his bag is like
It's
so
great.
good. So
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, that disc is
Um,
actually really good. And
Super
Construct
nice.
too is
It-
super good.
Super good. Honestly, I feel like I could throw all their discs too. I love it.
Yeah.
I appreciate even having the conversation. It's always like, top Innova and the top. I love
Oh
their
yeah.
discs. I'm really excited for you to go there. Um, so it's no secret you're in a relationship with Bradley Williams. On the MPO side, it helps to tour with somebody, defray costs. I mean, just sharing experiences, all of that stuff is great. Was there any thought to, Bradley's sponsored with Innova? It seems very common for couples on the road to be sponsored by the same manufacturer. Was there ever any conversation there, or are you kind of your own person, independent, looking out for what's best for you?
It was definitely something we we did think about, and we it's like a thing where we were considering it this past season, talking about
Hmm.
it, trying to see if there was any brands that we both would want to play for. And to be honest, Bradley is a super, super duper Innova guy. So
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
it would have to be me kind of going to Innova. And it not that I don't like Innova and I do like their discs, but to me I kind of want to do my own thing also in a way. I want to be with a brand that I can be partner with, like real partner. Like I want to be able to build something. I want to be able to maybe have a say in things, have a say in molds, have a say in stamp,
Hmm.
have a say in what's going on, help with business. I I've really, really wanted that, and that is hard to do with a bigger brand for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So we kind of decided that it doesn't really have to be we don't have to have the same sponsor, but I do have an open bag, so that means I can have some of the molds
Yeah.
Bradley throw, which means that that kind of it helps.
Yeah, I noticed on your post, Thoughtspace Athletics, the big, logo on your chest right now. But there was also a mention of infinite discs and implication being open bag, or at
Yep.
least to a degree. Could you speak a little bit to, if you're bound to secrecy as far as molds and limits and stuff like that? But what does that imply, right? You're sponsored by Thoughtspace; they make their own discs. Infinite, they make their own discs, but you're not
Yep.
limited to just those, correct? So could you kind of walk
Yeah.
me through how that works?
Yeah, so I'm sponsored by Thoughtspace and I'm sponsored by Infinite. So I'm gonna have signature discs with both,
Okay.
and I have to throw some of their molds.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly going to be Thoughtspace, and I'm going to have a few molds from Infinite. And then I'm also open. I can have a few molds
Mm-hmm.
that's not Thoughtspace or Infinite. So it is an open bag, I guess. That's what
Yeah.
you would call it in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it kind of it's almost like it's really like the best version of an open bag because you get to support a company and all that kind of stuff. But inevitably, each company is going to have slight gaps or holes in their lineup, or you just click with something else. So I do love
Yeah.
the idea of like a few like mercenary discs from other companies. Like I can't live without X. I gotta
Yeah.
have that in the bag. So I always find it interesting with the open bag players. Just to kind of go through the disc in general, it's like you get to pick the best of everything. So it's seems like the
Yeah.
future kind of.
Yeah, I know, right? But it at the same time, to me, my mind, it's still kind of like, do I have an open bag? What does that
Yeah,
even mean? Like, I
yeah.
don't, because it is weird. It feels weird because we're so used to having that one brand,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's all we have. And I think that's
Yeah.
also mental. Like, you want to have the same brand. You want it to look a certain way. Like, these are all the same brand. They look
Mm-hmm.
like this. So I think it's gonna take some time to get used to. But it's
Yeah.
also great because that means if I have some discs I want to keep from Prodigy, or I have a
Mm-hmm.
disc that an Innova disc that Bradley throws, or something, it's not going to be many molds for me. It's not going to be
Yeah.
a lot of molds that's outside, but maybe a couple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
I think it's cool.
Very cool. On the flip side, though, I mean, this isn't 10 years ago where there was like 50 total discs, right? We're in the era where there's 50 manufacturers, each with 50 discs. So
Yeah.
the open bag could sound on the surface like liberating. I can throw anything I want. I'm not so bound. But the real life aspect is like you probably don't even have enough time to try out all the different discs. And like
No.
there's 7 different versions of each kind of flight path and mold. So it can be almost a little overwhelming. And like I have heard that people can question their choices when there's an unlimited amount of options.
True.
When I say that, how do you react to that? Does that make sense to you?
It definitely makes sense, but I will not try and go out and find new discs. I will for
Mm-hmm.
sure try out discs if
Mm-hmm.
someone is like, "Hey, you need to try this out. It's the best disc ever." I'll try it,
Yeah.
sure. But I have been throwing a lot of the brands we have out there. I do know ish all of the
Mm-hmm.
discs. And I've been throwing Discmania and Prodigy and I mean Bradley obviously has Inova.
Yeah.
So it's like I think I'll just keep it simple, try and keep the molds I loved from Prodigy, and then just
Mm-hmm.
stick to the Thoughtspace and Infinite kind of thing. Yeah.
Totally, and it makes sense. I think like I said, it can get overwhelming if you just like go out, like hit up infinitedisc.com, or you have your shop. Just go to your
Yeah.
shop and pilfer through everything. Like, that could be an overwhelming process.
Yeah.
Um, just a real quick question. You have a shop. What happens with your shop when you're in the States for whatever 2, 3, 4, 5 months? You have employees in the whole thing, or
Yeah, it's me and two other guys.
okay,
So
gotcha. Okay,
they're running the whole
yeah.
thing and I'm out.
You're the face of the
Yeah.
franchise, right? You're the face of the franchise. So,
Yeah.
um, let's back it up a little bit to this past season, 2023, your final season with Prodigy. Talk to me about some of the ups, some of the downs. Like, what was your overall thought? Like, what was your overall perspective on the year as a whole? Success, failure, somewhere in between. How do you feel about it?
Oh, for some reason, because I did do a recap post
Mm-hmm.
the other day, and then I thought about it, and it's really a failure and success type of season. It was like
Okay.
I was never like in between. I was always like I wouldn't say failure, but
Sure.
the first half of the season, I injured my wrist.
Mm.
So that was like practice at Waco. So that means I only
Yeah.
played Vegas without an injury, and that was up until June. So I had it
Mm-hmm.
all through, I guess, the first half of the season,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of it didn't affect my backhand that much, but I couldn't throw sidearms. My putt was a bit
Oof.
off. So it I think I was hard on myself because I didn't play as good for obvious reasons, but
Yeah.
I missed cash a lot, which is not great. And then I kind of had a few bad tournaments in Europe too in the summer where I felt like I'm not injured. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, well, I'm not injured. What's wrong? And then I had a super bad tournament at European Open, and I was really surprised by that.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of felt like that would be like a top 10 tournament for me. And then I just decided to just work really, really hard, like work out more, go out at least 2 times to do field work or putting,
Mm-hmm.
besides the practice rounds. So I did that for like a month before I kind of had the whole like switch where I just played good the rest of the year kind of thing. I just all of a sudden I was like, oh, well the all the work just like it felt like in a second, like, oh, here it is. It was insane. So it was
It's
pretty
crazy.
cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like I hear you say that, and it's like, I love that because I love when somebody sits down, says, "I'm going to put in the work," and then the bears the fruit of that work. I think it's so easy mid-season. You're going event, maybe an off weekend in there in the mix, but like it's difficult to change the course of the season mid-season, and
Yeah.
to sit back and have that moment with yourself, like, I need to start putting in the work, and then going to see the results of that it's inspiring. It's awesome. I was looking at your PDGA results from last year, and you nailed it. You have a very firm grasp on how that went, but the last month of the season was actually really nice. I think it was over 7K in winnings just in the last like 35 days of the year. Some
Yeah.
great finishes. And obviously, what I would say is your coming out party, which was the World Championships out in Vermont. Um,
Yeah.
Talk about that experience. What was that like, and did that change anything for you? Like, I think the disc golf world knew who you were, but when you're on lead card at the biggest tournament of the year for multiple rounds in a row, it kind of elevates the whole thing. So, what was that experience like, and what was the aftermath like?
It it definitely did change a lot, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think one tournament would just change everything in the
Yeah.
way I think it actually did. I think it, well, first of all, to me, it changed a lot. So it changed, um, not, it didn't change me, but all of a sudden I was like a different person. My head was like, I'm supposed to be here. It's not like, oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a lead card. I have to enjoy it while it lasts. It was like, yeah, I'm on lead card and I'm gonna be on lead card tomorrow. Like I'm gonna be on lead card the
Yeah.
last day, which was insane. Like you start off the first round and then it's like your second round and then it's third round. You're like, wow, third round, that's good. And it's
Yeah.
fourth round and you're lead card last round. I'm like, okay, well, so you did the whole thing. So to me, that kind of just confirmed what I believed I can do. And then the aftermath also kind of, it did change stuff. I feel like more people knew who I were, and maybe people that did know me before kind of just saw me in a different light
Mm-hmm.
in a way. Like, oh, she is good, or she could be a top player, like a really like a high level player, not just like top 15 or 10,
Yeah.
but like a she can get a podium, which is
Mm-hmm.
what you would want, right? That's what you
Yeah.
want. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It, so like there's so much going into that. I mean, like you said, like just the change of mindset of I belong here. I've worked so long, like I've known who you were and knew that you were a good player, and I'm like, she's got what it takes to be very good. But over the last few years, it's been you've been slowly rising. The rating is getting better and better and better, and oftentimes it takes that, especially when you're coming over from Europe. It's a whole new. It's a big adventure to come over here. So,
Yeah.
you know, after that final round, gallery everywhere, incredible tournament. At the end of that tournament, at the end of the round, you make one of the most awesome putts I've ever seen, which was great. Crowd goes wild, but my favorite moment of that was right after that, where you walked back to your bag and Bradley walked from the sidelines over to join you. Talk about that moment and what you were feeling as you gave him a hug and kind of fell into his arms.
It, I think it was just like I made the putt, which is cool. That's cool in itself. And then it's just the crowd. It's just insane. Like I wish everyone would feel how it feels because you're in like the middle and it's
Mm-hmm.
so many people around you and they go crazy because you made a putt. They go crazy. And that in itself, it's just like you feel like you get emotional, right?
Yeah.
And then it's over. Like the tournament's over. I did what I could. I tried my best. My hard work the last month, which is it was a lot of hard work. And I just felt like that kind of just finally I made it. Finally I had a good tournament or just I had a tournament I was happy with. Like I didn't win, I didn't get podium, but I am happy with this tournament, which was kind of the turning point for me. And I was just so relieved and happy that I could be happy with myself and what I did for all like the every did we have 5 rounds? 5 rounds.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
every round Like I played good. I did my work, and then it's just all of it mixed together. And then Bradley, who, if you know him, he's very like, you're independent, I'm independent, you do you, I do me, like you go do your round, like don't think I'm gonna just come over there and be like blah 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 emotional and cry and support you, right? He's just trying to like toughen me and be like Brad
Mhm.
in a way. So
Mhm.
just him making his way through the crowd, which was, if you were there, it was insane,
Massive.
right? So
Yeah.
he was out on the side. He wasn't even like in the crowd. So he like pushed himself through the crowd just to like give me a hug, which to me, like I respect him so much that to me that just was kind of just uh I don't know. It's a lot of emotions
Mhm.
mixed into one moment. Yeah. So that moment was pretty special in many ways.
Yes, I mean, I could feel that from 150 feet away. Just the energy. I mean, just the relief. Really, it felt like it's over. None of the bad stuff happened. I was, you know, because you can go through these rounds, or at least speaking from my perspective, it's kind of like you're on ice a little bit. You're like, whoa, when is this fever dream gonna end? I just made another 40-footer. Like, how does this
Yeah.
keep? This is all, you know. So it was truly one of the more special moments. I felt, you know, Kristen got the headlines. She's the one going like this and taking the stuff, but
Yeah.
the moment that stands out to me was that final putt, and just that to me is bigger than disc golf. It's life, it's humanity, you know. So I just appreciate being a part of it, really. So thank you for doing your part too.
Yeah,
Um,
that was awesome.
yeah. Uh, 2023, fantastic. Well, okay. Beginning of the year, not so much. End of the year, fantastic. Great way to finish the year. You head into the off
Yeah.
season, like head up, ready for this new contract, ready for a new adventure. And now it's snowing and you can't really do anything to practice or to, you know, train and get better and build off that. So what are you doing over the next, I don't know, the last month, the next 2 months? How are you working to, you know, learn a new bag, get into or stay in game shape, find that spark that you had at the end of the year at the beginning this time?
I I was super motivated when the season ended,
Mm-hmm.
'cause I felt like I was just getting started. So you're
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, "Oh, is it over?" Even though it was nice, 'cause it's
Yeah.
it's
It's
exhausting.
tiring. Yeah.
Yeah. But every time I come home, I do I do work out a lot. I have uh my gym that I've been working out at for years. I
Mm-hmm.
love that gym. I'm there almost every day when I'm home. So the second I come home, I just have a couple of days to sleep and just relax and
Yeah.
rest. And then it's straight to the gym. And that's kind of my focus in the off
Mm-hmm.
season. Work out, get my strength kind of not back, but kind of push it
Mm-hmm.
up so I'm stronger when the season starts. So that's my main focus for the first months I'm off. And then now it's kind of starting to, I guess not close, but a couple of months till the
Mm-hmm.
season starts. So I have to like kind of start throwing, but I have a basket and I have a net at the gym.
Okay.
So
That
I
helps.
I do try, I have, let's say maybe three, I think maybe three workouts with either uh, net or putting,
Yeah.
just to kind of keep it fresh. But now I kind of have to start to learn. I guess build a bag, not learn
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
but build a bag, and that's pretty hard. But I basically I can't go anywhere because I'm waiting on my visa. So
Okay.
I have to stay here.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
It's something that I am just woefully American about, and I don't fully. I'm not super plugged in with like international travel status, visa status, all that thing. That is something if you're a European disc golfer, you have to be very familiar with. And know exactly what dates you're trying to hit and which paperwork you're filling out. So, talk to me about that process. What's the visa status? Like, should we expect you at the first event? Where are we standing with that?
So I've been traveling on some sort of, or just the normal like tourist visa,
Yeah.
which a lot of us Europeans were using that normal basic tourist
Mm-hmm.
visa. And then my last trip, I I got warned that I can't come back on this visa because it's not allowed because
Uh-huh.
I'm a
Ah,
professional. I do this like that.
yeah.
That's fine. That's true. That is true. Like
Yeah.
I'm not technically allowed. So they told me I need to apply for a sports visa, and but they were gonna let me in, so I did those 3 months in the States.
Mm-hmm.
So I got my last trip, and
Okay.
then I have to have a sponsor because they have to be my petitioner to
Gotcha.
apply
Okay.
for the sports visa. So that was kind of a thing that
Yeah.
stressed me out because
Yeah.
I'm switching sponsors and I have to sign a contract, and that contract needs to be added to the visa application. So
Okay.
yeah, it's been a lot, but I'm applying for a sports visa with Thoughtspace. So
Mm-hmm.
they're my petitioner, and I've actually done the work without a lawyer, which is also insane. So I've spent, I don't know how many hours I've spent on this. A month, basically.
Oh,
Just getting this visa thing going because it's so much stuff you have to add.
yeah.
So many, yeah, documentations,
Mm-hmm.
support letters,
Ugh.
schedule, tour card, results, registration. It's just a lot. And you have to prove everything. You have to explain disc golf. It is a lot.
Yeah.
So
It is that
yeah,
some. Let me ask you this: is that something that you're doing, like in person at a like Norwegian building that, or you just like mail in, wait for it to come back, mail in, wait for it.
it's
Ugh.
it's I did this on my computer, and then I sent all the files like ready
Mm-hmm.
with all the like just in order
Yeah.
to Aaron, and he printed it all out, and then he put it in like a folder with checks. So yeah, so it's like,
Mm-hmm.
and then he mailed it. So
Ugh.
it is, it's so old fashioned. Like
It's
who does
true.
that?
Snail
Who
mail
mails?
across the ocean.
It's so funny. Yeah, so we paid for them to um give an answer within 15 days. So it's like a
Yeah.
premium processing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like
So
expedited thing.
hopefully expedited, yeah. So I'll hopefully I get an answer within the month. So hopefully I'll be
I was gonna.
playing the first event. That's what I'm
But it,
hoping.
yes, but it is
Yeah.
a legitimately real possibility that something slows down the process and you join us in Texas or
Yeah,
X event at some point.
definitely. Definitely.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, that's kind of stinky, but it's honestly it's a crazy life adventure. Like you're gonna be at 25 years from now, you're gonna be like, remember when I had to do and it wasn't so. It's
Yeah.
crazy, but these are the times we'll think back on later. I think.
I think it's just to me, I love learning stuff. I love just being like able to think about this visa, and like everyone's like it's impossible to do without a lawyer, blah
Yeah.
blah blah, and I'm like, okay, I guess
Let's
I'll just
see.
do it. I'll do it. We'll see. And then I'm gonna be so proud. I'm gonna be so happy and proud. And it's gonna
Yeah.
feel more like I worked to be here in the States. Like I've
Mm-hmm.
earned this myself. So
Yeah, well,
it's pretty
and you'll
cool.
have like a few extra $1,000 in your pocket that you didn't have to pay a lawyer for their services, so that's awesome. That's like
It
a
costs
factor in this
like
whole thing.
5,000, five between $5,000 and $8,000.
Oh, okay. Note to self: do my paperwork by myself.
Yes.
So 2024, you in theory, hopefully, will be there to start the season. We're all looking forward to it. But do you? yourself, do you have goals? Do you have do you like write down goals? Are you that person? What are your goals, aspirations this year? What are you trying to earn?
I I do have I do have goals,
Hmm.
but I I tend to, or I've had goals, like super specific goals my whole life.
Hmm.
And it is working in a way that it motivates me, but I'm trying to not have that specific goals. I do have some goals oriented things in my contract, which I'm definitely gonna work towards.
Hmm.
And that's about it. I'm really trying to just work hard and get my confidence up, be super focused, and just try and play my best every round and
Hmm.
just be in that one shot at a time type of mentality. Just focus on that, do week by week, day by day, and not like push it too much with the goal thing. So
Yeah.
that's basically where I'm at now.
No, I honestly, I totally empathize with that because the hard, I need to get 3 podiums. I need to get X top tens. My rating needs to be this number. So many of that stuff, so much of that stuff, I should say, is out of our control. It's
Yeah.
you threw a great shot and it cut through the chains. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. Or I threw a great shot and it hit a rock and kicked to the right in the woods, cost me 2 strokes. Now I'm in seventh instead of fourth. So I can totally empathize with the thought of I just want the disc to release out of my hand clean as much as
Yeah.
possible and let everything else kind of work itself out from there.
Yeah.
Um, so we've talked about last year, we've talked about this upcoming year, the new contract, all that good stuff, all the professional elements of being a disc golfer. But my favorite, or one of my favorite parts of the disc golf season is like 3.5 months of just straight chilling. And what my favorite thing to do is watch content. I'm watching all sorts of movies, TV shows, all that stuff. So, my question to you, what's on the screen? Have you been watching anything? Are there any new shows, movies? Are you a live sports junkie? What have you been watching this offseason?
Oh, I'm a super like rewatch type of girl.
Okay.
So I'm right now I'm watching The Office for like the 100th time. So
Nice.
that's basically what I do. It's so weird because every time I rewatch something, I'm like,
Hmm.
I know it's coming, but
Yeah.
it's even more funnier.
Yeah.
Like the fifth time. It's so
Oh my God,
funny.
I love
And
it.
it's like you
Yeah.
feel like you know them in a way. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, here we go. Like he's gonna
Yeah.
say this, and it's so funny. And I'm already like like laughing before he says it or something. Like it is it that's basically what I do. I have like a few shows. It's New
Hmm.
Girl I
Mm-hmm.
watch and The Office. And then I have some movies, like older movies I could
Yeah.
rewatch. And I don't watch too much like TV shows.
Hmm.
Especially not now that I've started my YouTube channel and it's a lot of work and I'm working
Yeah.
out and yeah, it's yeah.
Well, so I that was actually going to be my last question, but you just said it right there, and I am curious. Just players, YouTube channels, video production work. That's what I do for a living, so I very much understand the whole process and the fact that you said it earlier. It takes way more time than you think it's going to take to make
Yeah.
these things. I think a lot of people don't give the editing the credit or anything
I
like that
know.
that it might deserve. So, talk to me a little bit about doing some production for yourself and that process, and maybe some things that you've learned along the way.
It it's always been something I want to do, but it is hard when you're by yourself and you have this idea and you want to make something, but you're by yourself. You have to put up the camera, you have to like do all this stuff to make it work. Or if it works by yourself, it might not work. But it kind of we kind of started talking about it this last season and we did some stuff, but it never kind of I don't know, we never had time to edit it or we never had
Yeah.
time to it does take a lot of time to edit.
Yes. And especially, no, you're fine. It's especially like when you're not getting like if you were to make something, edit it, put it out, 100,000 views, you're like, oh my god, I'm doing this
Right.
tomorrow. But you put
Yeah.
it out and it's like, oh,
Two
216
weeks.
views. Okie dokie. Maybe it's not worth the week I spent editing this
You know,
thing. So I
it,
completely empathize with you.
it's really funny because I made a 1.5 minute video for my announcement, and then Bradley, like earlier today, he's like, maybe you shouldn't spend 24 hours straight making a 1.5 minute video.
Yeah.
Maybe not do that. I'm like,
Hmm.
well, but it's so much new. So I said I get that,
Hmm.
and it shouldn't take that much of our time, right? But since I'm new and I really want to be good, and I really do like editing and I like learning new stuff, like
Hmm.
I like when I see other YouTubers do stuff, I really want to do that. So I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
how do I do that? Like how
Hmm.
to make text behind an object. Like I'm just like trying to figure out how. So I spend a lot of time learning. So it's like a
Yeah.
50-50 editing and learning type of thing right
Yep.
now,
Yeah,
which
and
was
that.
my goal for the off season to make videos and not
Mhm.
necessarily make the best videos like the content, but I'm making them and I'm editing. That means I'm learning a lot. So it's easier for me when the season starts, when we're going to make real content. So I know how to edit, I know how to make it cool, and it's going to take a lot less time.
Yeah, especially as you're on the road, as you're like in a random
Yeah.
Airbnb with a bad workspace, and you're like on a
Yeah.
kitchen counter, like trying to edit stuff. Yeah. Do you think that there's every player has a YouTube channel at this point, or it feels that way? Do you feel pressure to make YouTube content, or do you think that it's still fresh enough to where it's coming from you? Like, you know what I mean?
I definitely think it's fresh enough for sure. I think
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a lot of FPO players, not the top ones at least.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think it I definitely think there's a market for it,
Yeah.
and I do really want to try it. I do think it's kind of fresh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
No,
it's
and
yeah.
just I actually appreciate what you said because I mean, maybe it's my own biasy playing in, but you're totally right. There's not a ton of top FPO players that have a YouTube presence. And
Yeah.
shame on me for not realizing that, but you're totally right. Like there isn't that YouTuber, you know?
And I totally get it because I think girls are more, I think they think more about how they look. They
Mhm.
care more
Mhm.
about how it turns out. And
Yeah.
I do that too. But it's, I'm just trying to be I'm trying to push, I'm trying to get content out just to get the
Mhm.
ball rolling in a way. So
Mhm.
it will get better. Like I know it will get better. And I
Mhm.
know that other disc golfers appreciate it because I've heard so many people talk about FPO and YouTube.
Mhm.
So I think it's a good thing, and I'm gonna try and see if the market is there, basically.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
fingers crossed. I mean, there's market for video for sure. And frankly, I feel like you're doing it the right way. You say it's 50-50 doing it and learning. And I think a lot of
Yeah.
people just focusing on the doing it and don't really elevate in, in a way that makes the content really good. So honestly, I'm really
Yeah.
excited to start catching all the videos you're going to start putting out. If you ever need any like tips or if you're struggling with something, please feel
Yes,
free to reach out.
I will.
I'm always here. But that is about all I had for this interview. I wanted to give you a chance, though, now that we've a little bit wrapped up. Speak to the fans. Anyone out there rooting for Miss Lucky out there? The floor is yours.
Oh, wow, fans. Well, I mean, without fans, I wouldn't have a career. I think it's to me, fans actually means a lot. They're the one buying your disc. They're the
Mm-hmm.
one kind of supporting you in a way, like giving you the motivation to keep going. So that I really do appreciate all the fans and everyone who texts me, follows me, comment, subscribe, all that, especially now that I have YouTube. So go and subscribe to my YouTube channel and support that. Yeah.
Yep, I love it. Yeah, you said it best. Go subscribe right now. And then after you're done subscribing to her, subscribe to me if you're not already a subscriber. But
Yeah.
that is about all I had for this interview. If you at home would like interviews with all of your favorite professional disc golfers, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel.